As we have seen, quite surprisingly, Moody's has downgraded Indian banking system's strength from stable to negative. That is the changed outlook. What is your sense about this?
Well, not too many people take Moody's very seriously these days, and it is no surprise it was coming. Yes, theoretically, the cost of borrowing in the overseas market for Indian banks will be slightly higher, but I would not give too much of importance to this because Indian banking segment, about 70% of it is owned by government, and government is committed to infuse capital. So there is no problem on the capital front. Yes, there is a deterioration in the asset front, but nothing to be worried about. In isolation, Indian banking system is not as strong as it was even in 2009 post-crisis. But if you see in the context of other emerging markets and global markets, we are pretty fine.
But it is a fact which no one can ignore that many of the Indian banks, especially small and medium-sized banks and some of the public sector banks even, are in desperate need of capital. Moving ahead, how do you think the situation will evolve?
Government has committed capital. India's largest bank, State Bank of India, is in dire need of capital, and government is committed at least 4,000 crore of capital. So SBI's capital base will go up, capital adequacy ratio. One of the reasons they need capital, one, to support credit growth, but more than that is because they need to provide for bad assets. That's a real concern, because State Bank of India today announced its gross non-performing assets more than 4% of its overall loan book, and net non-performing assets more than 2%, which is sometimes 6-year high. So NPAs is a problem, as quality of asset is a problem, and capital also is a problem. But as I said, is nothing alarming about.
But what is the sense of what is your sense as far as the central bank's awareness about the reality is concerned?
As we are aware that every 6 months the Reserve Bank of India is conducting a stress test. Last stress test was done in June, which was pretty fine. I mean, there's nothing much concern about this.